Hello, BookTube. I'm here to talk about a science fiction book that was chosen by Roger at the Vaughan Manor for his Roger's Cheap Old Book Club. Roger decided in February to start a book club. That's Roger Hotep. He's the brains and mastermind of the Vaughan Manor. And he has this, puppet stand-in called Michael. Yeah. That, he does all the grunt work for Roger. But anyway, this month, March, was The Forgotten Planet by Murray Leinster. It was published in 1954 as a book by Gnome Press, at actually a very, very big print run for Gnome Press. Gnome Press was one of those first and very collectible publishers from the early days of hardcover science fiction in the late 40s, early 50s. It had 2 or 3 times the print run of things like iRobot or City, iRobot by Isaac Asimov, or City by Clifford Simak. Those only had a couple thousand print runs, and this one had, I think, upwards of 4,000 or 5,000. And so it was very popular at the time. It was highly thought of for the most part. It's a fix-up novel. Murray Leinster wrote the first 2 parts. 1920 and 21, I think, are very, very early 20s, for Argosy magazine. And then I think for Forgotten Tales, or in 1953, he wrote the 3rd part. The first part was called Mad Planet, and the second part was called Red Dust, and then Hidden Planet. I got a note here of it. Give me 1 second. Nightmare Planet was the 3rd part. So he fixed it all up into a novel. I have not looked at each individual story to see what he has done. It is a book that because I'll talk about that in a minute. This is a book that I have read before. And it's basically set long time in the future. Like the background to all this is that the Earth had become overpopulated and humans have moved out into the galaxy. And they were sending survey ships. So a survey ship landed on this planet, looked around. There's no life on it whatsoever. But somehow there's oxygen. Okay. One thing you need to do is don't fixate on the bad science in here. Go with the flow of a fun little story. Okay, so you got a planet that has no life on it whatsoever, no soil, no bacteria, nothing, but it's got oxygen. Okay, accept that. Otherwise, you're not gonna be able to do much with this. It's like another, but then they get a little punch card that puts the information on the punch card. And they send another survey ship there to put some bacteria on it. So the bacteria starts growing. And then later, insect life. And then it becomes a forgotten planet. And we find out why it's become a forgotten planet. The little punch card gets lost. So they lost the planet. But somewhere thousands of years after the bacteria gets working and the insects, a spaceship crash lands there, and there's survivors, and we're now about 40 generations later. It's a forgotten planet, so nobody knows where it is or forgotten about it or anything like that. You see, what's happened is with these creatures like the insects, they have grown to huge, yeah, normal insects, spiders growing to rhinoceros size. As I said, don't fixate on how this works. Don't bother. Just go with it. Massive insects, and these humans have forgotten almost their language or anything like that. They are scared. They're living, barely living, and they're huddling together. This one character, Burl, he does something that is fantastic that probably hasn't happened in 40 generations. He kills a spider. He goes on the attack rather than just eating the huge mushrooms that grew. Yeah, huge mushrooms. Okay, just accept it. So he becomes a leader of his people, who actually he gets them over, or them to fight with their fear of attacking animals. But then there's this red mist that's coming that are like on puffballs that, yeah, don't think about it too hard, okay? And so they have to keep moving, and we find out that they're in a valley. And then when they go up into the out of the valley, everything is like they see sunlight. And there's no huge creatures. Yeah, so only they're the weird evolution of the creatures in the valley. But yeah, don't worry about that. So they're up on it, and there's grass, and there's dogs, and the dogs are sort of friendly. Well, sort of friendly. And some of the large creatures come out of the valley, and the dogs get them usually. But they think it's better to live there. But then all of a sudden, another spaceship comes, and has a teaching helmet that they can get on, and they learn the new language after the 40 generations have been changed. Yeah. And they become sort of the rulers of the planet. They build a city, and they start going, and it becomes a hunting area for other in the creatures, the big creatures that shouldn't be there but are. Yeah, they are hunted, and so they create this whole society, and it's a bit of a love story because. Burl, has a sweetheart, and he thought, oh, he can really impress her by killing something, and it's sort of the undertext is, well, I got to kill something, but I'm not going to go out and hunt it. I don't like her that much, but I'll do it. I'll do something that will impress her anyway. So there's a few humorous bits in there like that. It's a fabulous story, but as I say, it does not work with the science. It's just basically them going after bugs and fighting wasps. As you can see, huge wasps, flies, huge mushrooms, and just moving along. And it's. Like I say, you can't expect too much if you can't suspend every belief that you have about something and just go with the fun little story. It's short. It's 100 and 40 pages in here, 45 pages. I think the original was a bit longer in the hardcover, but it's just because of the print. But yeah, so, and does it warrant 140 pages long? No. It could have done the same thing in probably less than half that. Like a long short story, maybe 40 or 50 pages. It would have worked just as well. But hey, you're getting paid as a writer by the minute. Not the minute, sorry. By the word. Why would you skimp on that? Why make it a third the size or half the size when you can get double the money by making it twice as long? Yeah. So, why would you? Anyway, Murray Leinster was a immensely prolific author. He lived from near the last 5 years of the 19th century, so about 1896, 97 he was born, I think, but I know he died in 1975. He died in 1975, and he's credited with over 1,500 short stories and articles, and dozens of novels in various genres, mystery, TV tie-ins, all sorts of things like that, and radio scripts. He's written for radio, like dozens and dozens of radio scripts. He was a pen for hire, basically. So yeah, his stuff, the quality of it, there's going to be good stuff, and then there's going to be the Forgotten Planet stuff. But it's still fun. Like, I think anything that Murray Leinster does is fun. You just have to not expect it to be top shelf literature, Shakespeare, or anything like that. It's not Dune. This is not a Dune planet. It's not a well thought out ecological system at all. There is very little thought in this ecological system. But yeah, he just wrote and wrote and wrote, and as I say, he's worth looking into. Anyway, thank you, Roger, for suggesting this, and it was nice to reread. And I want to show off this thing. It's like there used to be Ace, which was a publishing company, paperback publisher for science fiction mostly. They did other stuff that as well, but they're known for their double aces, where they've got a one book on, see, this is the front, one book on the front, and then you flip it, and you've got another book. But they didn't quite do it here for this. This is called Armchair Fiction. It was a new publisher that's reprinting material, and they're print on demand, but they're nicely made. And they've got the same, like the blue and red colors for this. It's just, I don't know why they didn't do the flipping part, and that would have been cool. So this has another novelette in it. It's 100 pages, called The Peril of the Starmen by Chris Neville. Just look at that cool cover. I'm sure I've never read this. It doesn't sound familiar, so I'm going to read this as well, and I'll talk about it. But I do have other ones here that are kind of cool. I'll just show them off. I have at least 4 more. I might have a few more. They're kind of expensive here in the UK, and I've picked them up a year or two ago when I first discovered them, and I thought, well, I'd like to have them all, and then I looked at the prices and go, nah. But then, occasionally you get some cheap stuff. The first one I bought was Baron Munchausen's Scientific Adventures by Hugo Gernsback. Yeah, that's Hugo Gernsback, who started science fiction with amazing stories. And again, it's got stories on the back, Stanley Weinbaum and Ralph Milne Farley, Evolution of 1950, and these other ones are cool. It's a Lee Brackett and a Ray Bradbury book, and on the other side is Alan E. Norse. I bought these for the Lee Brackett because I want to read more of Lee Brackett, and her stuff is hard to get. So there's another Lee Brackett, and then Irving W. Land and Frank Belknap Long, Operation Square Peg. I've read Operation Square Peg at some point. And then we got Harry Kuttner, The Time Trap, very popular writer, hit or miss for really great. And then we've got Brandy, the Book Eclectic's favorite, Hal Clement, Lunar Lichen. So yeah, and they've got dozens of these. They do other things. They do a neat series of forgotten. No, what is it? Lost World ones that I'd love to get because they've reprinted some really nice stuff. But anyway, that's it. 15 minutes in, and I'll see you next time, BookTube.